At this point, we wanted to highlight some of the work that those of us who are Lions and are involved with Lions clubs will want to know about. It's a video highlighting some of the humanitarian work for persons displaced by the conflict in the Ukraine. Do we have that video ready to share?
4 months ago, on February 24th, I woke up, turned on my smartphone, and couldn't believe what I saw. There was a war in Europe. I was totally overwhelmed by the news. As a former Air Force officer in the German Armed Forces, I'm familiar with war from a general perspective. But a war happening on my continent in Europe, this can't be possible. But it was, and it is. Every day people were killed and families lost everything they had, built up over generations, due to bombs falling on their homes. For my wife and me, there was no question of if or why. We just knew we had the duty to give from the heart. I run a small consultancy business, and we stopped all of our clients' projects immediately and started our humanitarian project. And my Lions Club immediately came up with the idea to bring medical help to Ukraine and on the way back, help Ukrainian families with safe transport to Germany. That was the first weekend after the war broke out. And 4 days later, the first mission was on the way to the Ukrainian border. After the first mission, my wife and I hosted a farmer named Victor, his 27-year-old daughter, and his 2-year-old grandchild. Due to the impact of the war and the mission and the wonderful Ukrainian family, the war was closer than I ever expected it. It gave me the feeling that everything I did and built up in my life could be gone in a day. And that motivates me every day to help as a lion and as a human being. We rescued hundreds of families in the missions. Our youngest guest was a 20-day-old baby, and our oldest was an 87-year-old grandmother with her daughter and her grandchildren. This is the third war she has lived through. I saw her 44-year-old daughter last month for the first time after the rescue mission. And she burst into tears and hugged me. It was a very, very touching moment for my whole life. My wife is my partner in service, my partner in crime, and as they say, and in all of life. She's coordinating the resettlement of all these families 7 days a week. Therefore, I want to say thank you, my dear. As people, we all live on and share this one planet. And humanitarian crises like this need to stop. We as Lions stand for international peace and understanding and have the power and willingness to help. If there is a need, there is a line, and right now there is a huge need in Ukraine. During our second mission, we rescued a 36-year-old mother of 2 children. She was very sick with cervical cancer, and her end was near. In Ukraine, there was no possibility for a good treatment and a safe place for her children. She spent her last few weeks of her life fleeing war and destruction and bringing her children into a safe environment. We helped her come from Ukraine to Germany, where she died at 36, 3 weeks ago. Her children are safe and will have a future because of her strengths and because we as Lions acted. I would like to invite you to help us to continue this operation. We need volunteers and support to continue our work. Due to our humanitarian missions, we developed a highly valuable network in Ukraine. We work directly with hospitals and leaders and identify the current highest needs. After 4 months, however, donations to help Ukrainian families have declined. But we will not stop serving those in need. The history books will write about how the world and we as Lions acted and how we served. To be honest, Since May, I've been back at my consultancy business and working just as a volunteer for Ukrainians. But still after work, nearly every day, the need for safe transport from the Ukrainian border to the west is gone. So we focus now just on medical help. This means medical devices like X-rays, ventilators, life support machines, and drugs like anesthetics and pain medication. One senior representative of the Ukrainian Ministry of Health said that we saved probably hundreds of lives with our medical support. That makes us proud as Lions, but there's still a lot to do, and that's it. Just helping people and serving humanity. We Lions help people with no expectation of receiving something in return. We Lions are there where the needs are, and we Lions stand together and serve from the heart. It was an honor to be here with you, and I look forward to meeting you in the next days. A special thanks goes to my good Lions friend Katja Segmüller, my club president Gerd Richter, my district governor Dr. Jürgen Kuczynski, and Christopher Kempski from LCI. Thanks for your support and thanks for being an outstanding Lion. Thank you.
What an amazing story. And we are blessed to have Philipp Blobel with us here today. Philipp, please join me. Now, Philipp, I'm going to invite you to unmute. And first and foremost, may I thank you for sharing your story, for inspiring the rest of us with hope that we truly can make a difference, knowing that you are making a difference. Thank you for sharing your story. I absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll give you a virtual ovation. You got a standing ovation in Montreal when you told that story, and it still moves us. But now it's October. Can you give us an update, please, on the refugee support efforts? What is your focus now?
Yes, thank you very much for having me here today. Our refugees are still supported by our Lions community with daily needs and administrative support. Due to the much better support of the government for Ukrainian refugees here in Germany, we are now able to primarily take our efforts for our humanitarian missions, where we completed 6 missions until now. We brought humanitarian aid for around 370,000 euros to Ukraine, and we will not stop serving those in need. After 7 months, however, it's hard to get donations. We still plan our following 2 humanitarian missions to support Ukraine with medical supplies. And for the first time, we plan a mission to help a Ukrainian city with a former 500,000 citizens with water supply. Due to rocket strikes on Mykolaiv, which is a Ukrainian city in the southern part of Ukraine, nearly every day water pipes are broken due to the rockets, and they plan to build a new system with seawater because Mykolaiv is directly located at sea. Therefore, they need osmosis systems, and the time is running. The winter is coming. 10,000 children and nearly 200,000 adults need drinking water in the upcoming winter, and we are not allowed to stand beside and do nothing. But the system is costly. For just one Lions Club, we're calculating costs of at least $250,000.
That's an amazing commitment, but it certainly speaks to the shifting needs. You know, immediately, of course, we were all talking about transportation and reaching safety. But now when infrastructure is at risk, we realize that needs to be the next step forward. So how could Lions continue to support this effort?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We are very thankful for the help from many Lions clubs and districts in Europe and the United States of America. This week, for example, we received a donation of $1,000 from the Boston Lions Club. For the first time, we will ask LCIF for a grant for our water project in Mykolaiv, because we are unable to collect this massive amount of at least $250,000. I hope as Lions, together we can help Ukrainians with one of their simple daily needs, drinking water. So we need, on the one side, the support from the international community, and on the other side, if one of my Alliance friends from around Europe is able to help us in doing this work, then together we can do it. And please join me in my next humanitarian mission.
Certainly, you know, there has never been a better time for us to all adopt that phrase, together we can, which we hear from our international president this year. All of this work, as you said, you've gone back to work, you have your own needs and your family needs to take care of. Your wife is committed to helping as a full-time job. And so I'm wondering, how are you and your family doing? Because in my world of psychology and social wellness, we talk about when violence or trauma has an impact zone, but then it has secondary and tertiary impact zones. And clearly your life is in the impact zone too. How are you and your family doing?
Yeah, after 7 months of volunteer work, to be honest, we are a bit tired. My sons in the age of 5 and 8 are missing us a lot, but we will look forward to celebrating peace in Ukraine, and therefore we help. We are not allowed to stop. Where there is a need, there is a line. So we continue with our work, and my wife and me look forward to meet Lions at the Lions Europe Forum next week in Zagreb and discussing our help for Ukraine. So we will continue.
I know that you are not alone in this work. We have other Lions on the call with us who are from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, all around the world, who are engaged in helping to support. You may be surprised to know, Philip, that in my home in Canada, we have such a large diaspora of Ukrainian settlers that we actually have schools that offer education in Ukrainian in my city in Western Canada.
Great.
You know, you are not alone. So right now, it might feel that you are alone in seeking out the money, the support for this water project. Certainly through foundations such as Lions Clubs International Foundation, we have been committing many refugee and displaced persons grants, and now you're already talking about community rebuilding grants. And so there is a lot that we can do together. Together we can, together we will. And we want you and your good wife to know you're not alone.
Thank you.
When you need us, even just to talk, to bolster up your mental wellness, your peace and equilibrium, we are with you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for all the support I get.